Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at JD.com. This was a stock analysis request from one of the followers, and I wanted to let you know that anyone can make these requests and I will most likely cover them, especially if there is an actionable trade setup to follow. Now, in the case of this chart, we unfortunately failed to create an impulse to the upside. In fact, we failed to create even a 5-wave structure in my opinion, where here I would count this as an A wave up, a B wave down, and here a C wave to the upside. And yet, technically, we can mark this as an initial wave 1, and we could even look here for a correction in a wave 2. But unfortunately, we failed to hold support zone for any reliable 1-2 setup that would occur in this area. And honestly, since we failed to create a 5-wave structure to the upside, the reliability of a wave 2 decreases significantly. We have very much a lack of clarity for any structure, any probable upside trend that would be forming in this overall chart, not just an area. Now, from this bottom that we have so far, we have to be very much aware that the risk of another low is very high at the moment, where so far I would probably count this structure that has formed to the downside. Something like an ABC could work out, but could also realistically be something like a 1, 2, 3, and here a 4th, and then we could still be looking for a 5th wave to the downside. Now, this does seem to be some kind of a diagonal pattern, so in that case, the likelihood isn't either on this side too high, but I would be looking at a correction or a retracement in such a wave 4 in the area between the $29 level all the way up to the 61.8% retracement at the $52 level. Now, in this area, in this shorter time frame, to the upside, unfortunately, again, we have a 3-wave structure that has formed. Could be a wave 1 if we desperately want to track an uptrend from this area. Could be a wave 1, could be a wave 2 here, and yeah, we would be looking in this case for a possible diagonal pattern that could be forming to the upside. But even in this case, the likelihood is drastically reduced for any setup to have really high probabilities as we would normally look for in the case of having already completed something like such a pattern, such a 5-wave pattern. Now, internally, within this wave 3, if we have an A wave up, a B wave down possibly here, and now we could be looking for a C wave to the upside. And such a wave B in this white count does allow for support all the way down to the 78.6% retracement, which is at the $27.9 level, and also overlaps completely. I mean, it has a level of confluence with the larger time frame support zone for a wave 2. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, so I don't necessarily expect this one to. But I suppose that is a level of interest if we are to look for higher prices. Now, internally, this correction in a wave B could be complete under a WXY structure. We do have enough waves, and we could then consider that this is the bottom. And in fact, in this push to the upside, we may have finally managed to form a 5-wave structure, where I would count this as a 1, 2, a 3rd wave up, a 4th wave down, and then a 5th wave to the upside. That is actually a pretty good sign, because the reliability of this larger support zone that we have here for a wave B is not too high. We can at least look for an internal 1-2 setup that could be occurring within this larger wave C. Now, even here, it is on the shorter time frame, so not necessarily the preferred setup, but it is a 1-2 setup that could be tracked if you really are interested, and it does allow support between the $34 level all the way down to the $31.3 level. Now, if we break below the 78.6% retracement, which we actually nearly reached, the likelihood of this 1-2 setup gets reduced, and if we break below the beginning of this wave 1, this setup gets completely invalidated. Now, this could be somewhat of an interesting setup. This small 1-2 setup could be somewhat interesting, but personally, if I were to look at this chart, it's not a chart I would personally recommend to get into. Now, if you already have a position you may want to look out for this one to set up, because if it actually fails, the likelihood of getting anything as reliable is pretty low. Now, if it does work out, let's say it does work out and we are looking for higher, an ideal target for the wave C to the upside, let's see if I got the bottom right. Yeah, so assuming we already bottomed in a wave 2, I would be looking at the 100% extension at the $59 level for an ideal target within the wave C, and for an ideal target for the third wave, an overall target would be actually nearly reached at the $50.8 level, the 138.2% extension. Now, again, this one to set up is the only interesting part that I find here on this chart. Other than that, everything is high risk in my opinion, and even this one isn't the best setup in my opinion. But yeah, again, if you're interested, or if you already own this stock, if you already have a position, this might be an interesting setup to look for. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.